back to our we'll continue from day one's introduction, where we have seen what are the prerequisites for cloud computing course, what are the outcomes of the course, and we have also seen the syllabus, right? So now we will straight away start our first topic, centralized computing versus distributed computing. Actually, we will slowly move on to distributed computing. So first of all, we will try to understand computing. Right. So friends, what is computing? Computing is nothing but ability of computer to perform a task is computing. Right. So computing happens in many ways. One of the oldest computing mechanism, or you can say traditional computing method, is centralized computing. In 1950s and 60s, when there were no personal computers, means we don't have these desktops, right? So in those days, friends, we used to have something called as mainframes. So in those days, we used to have a computing mechanism or a facility where entire computing is done in one place. Please observe this one, centralized compute engine. See this diagram. So this is called as central compute engine, or you can simply say central server kind of thing. Server. Example for this kind of centralized computing facility is mainframe. Right. You know very well, like mainframes were widely used in mainframes were widely used in 1950s and 60s. So friends, I hope it is visible. Mainframe, or else I'll make use of black. Mainframe. Right. So closely observe this diagram, friends, carefully. So entire computing used to be done in one place, and that machine, central compute engine, is called as server, or mainframe is one example of central computing facility, right? So how people used to use this facility means whatever application you want to run, that application will be deployed in this central compute engine, and the services of that application, or that application will be accessed from client machines. Friends, these client machines, please observe carefully, these client machines are the machines which do not have any computing capability. These client machines can send a request, they can get the response from the server. So technically these client machines do not have any computing power. That's the reason these client machines, they are called as thin clients. This is a very important word, friends. Thin clients, right? Some people call them as dumb terminals, right? So they can't process. They don't have any processing power, and they are called as thin clients. So this kind of computing facility is called as centralized computing facility, and this was basically used in 1950s and 60s when there were no cost-effective so-called desktop or personal computers were not available. So this was the situation, and this was the only option in 1950s and 60s before the evolution of desktop machines. Now, if you carefully observe, what are the advantages and disadvantages of this computing facility? So please try to think, maybe for 5 to 10 seconds, right? What will be the benefit of centralized computing facility, right? Centralized computing, and what are the merits and demerits? Friends, if you observe, right, due to some technical issue, due to some problem, if this central computer is down, right, please think, if this central computer is down, let us say to restore this central server, I may need around 48 hours or 72 hours. What you will do? So when this central compute engine, or if the central server is down, and if the restoration of that server takes around 72 hours or 48 hours, meanwhile what will happen to the clients? All the clients which are getting the services from this particular server, now they are not in a position to access the server, and all the services are halted now, right? They are halted for 48 hours. If the server restoration takes 72 hours, the services are halted for 72 hours. Just imagine, friends, in our day-to-day application, in today's requirements, we are using Facebook, we are using Gmail, we are using online banking, we are using e-commerce applications like Amazon, Flipkart. Just imagine, friends, you try to sign in, and if application says there is a technical issue and probably after 72 hours it is available. Have you ever faced such situation? No, and you don't even like to face such situations. So today, friends, availability of the service is one of the most important requirement, right? All these services like Facebook, Instagram, they are of course free. You don't pay anything to Facebook, you don't pay anything to Instagram, but you want the service instantly. Please observe that. So availability of an application becomes a very very important feature these days. That's the reason I can't prefer central computing engine or centralized computing for the applications which I am using today. Like I can't prefer centralized computing for my banking applications. I want my banking application to be on 24 by 7. Right? I can't prefer central computing for my e-shopping or maybe for my social media applications. Right? Today we want everything immediately. With a single click we want the services for all these applications. But in centralized computing, I hope you understood the problem. The problem is if that central server is down, all the services offered by that central server are halted indefinitely. Indefinitely means I don't know when it will be restored. It may take 4 days, it may take 1 week, or it may take 10 days. If it takes 10 days, all these 10 days the services are halted and clients will not get any service. So why people have used centralized computing means that was the only option existed in those days, probably in 50s and 60s. And please remember, even today centralized computing can be preferred in certain applications. For example, or you may ask, sir, when we have such a major disadvantage in centralized computing, why should we prefer centralized computing? That can become a question. I'll answer that. So we'll just note down. So friends, the major problem with centralized computing, like disadvantage. So what was the disadvantage? What happens if that central server goes down? So if the server is down, if the server is down, right, availability of the application becomes a question. So if the server is down, services are halted. Services are halted. Right. In today's applications, in today's requirement, we want availability, right? We are not in a position to wait. Like if someone says, boss, Gmail is down for 2 days, will you accept it? No. So if server is down, services will be halted indefinitely. Indefinitely means maybe 2 days, 4 days, or 10 days, God knows. And meanwhile, I am not in a position to wait. So this is a major flaw, major disadvantage with centralized computing. Now you may ask, sir, why should I use centralized computing when there is such a major problem in centralized computing? So please think, are there any advantages in centralized computing? Right? There are certain advantages also, friends. So these are disadvantages. Now please observe, if I wanted to provide some security to my server, how many servers I have? Only one machine. So if I need to buy antivirus, I need to buy antivirus for one machine. If I have to do some day-to-day maintenance work, that day-to-day maintenance work has to be done for one machine. In order to look after this maintenance and security issues, if I need to recruit people, hardly I need to recruit one network engineer. So if you observe, securing and maintenance, security and maintenance of this central server is easy. So as far as maintenance is concerned, centralized computing is still a better option. So if you think, right, I am in a position to bear this kind of situation, like if my application is down for 1 or 2 days also, no issues, let it get restored, still I am fine with that, then you can go for centralized computing. Because centralized computing, it is easy to maintain, and securing one machine is easy when compared to securing multiple machines. So this is centralized computing, friends. I hope you have got some basic idea of centralized computing. The opposite word for centralized computing is centralized computing versus distributed computing. Means instead of running one application in one machine, what we will do is rather we load the application in many machines. Like let us say I load my application in 10 machines. Now my application is running in 10 machines. When a client makes a request, any one of these 10 machines will actually respond to the client. Now client is not even aware that there are 10 machines running in the background, and which machine has actually served the client is not aware of it, and client really does not need all these things also. Now what happens in distributed computing is instead of one machine we go for multiple machines, means network of machines. So distributed computing is a facility where we use multiple computers, we connect them, we run our application on multiple machines. So distributed computing actually came into existence when desktop computers and personal computers were available. So prior to that, centralized computing was the only option. Now if you see, centralized computing has got a lot of problems. The major problem we have seen. So this problem can be solved with distributed computing. In distributed computing, what happens is since we have multiple machines, if at all one machine goes down, like as I told you in my previous example, I have 10 machines, I run my application in all these 10 machines. If suddenly one machine goes down, not a problem, still 9 machines are running. If 2 machines are down, not a problem, still 8 machines are running. Right? The probability of all 10 machines going down will be obviously very less, right? So distributed computing will ensure that your application's downtime is zero. Means your application will never be down. Out of 10 machines, if 2 are down, what I'll do? I'll restore them, right? Meanwhile, the 8 machines are still serving the clients. And in future, if I feel like 10 machines are not sufficient, what I'll do? At any point of time, I can add certain machines to the network. Right? That is what is the basic definition of a network. You might have studied in CN, as I told you in the prerequisite CN. What is the definition of a network? It is an interconnection of independent computers. What do you mean by word independent? At any point of time, I should be in a position to add machines to the network without actually disturbing the network, and I should be in a position to remove machines from the network, right? So, distributed computing is possible only with computer network. So when I use network of machines, I go for distributed computing, and the major problem of centralized computing is actually addressed in distributed computing. Right? Now again, distributed computing has got its own merits and demerits. So in our next class we will actually see distributed computing. So to summarize, what is centralized computing we have seen. We have seen the architecture of centralized computing, and we have seen the standard example of centralized computing, which is mainframe, and we have discussed what are the demerits, merits, the major disadvantage we have seen, and what are the couple of advantages in centralized computing we have discussed. So in the next class we will discuss features of distributed computing, and we will try to do a comparison of centralized computing versus distributed computing. Right? I hope this is clear, and in lecture 2 we will see centralized distributed computing in detail, followed by a comparison of centralized and distributed computing. Thank you.